Welcome to my channel, Fazza Poems. Subscribe now. There are moments that belong, not to time, but to eternity. Moments so rare, they cannot be measured by clocks. When Sheikh Hamdan first saw her, the world fell into silence. The crowd blurred, the desert stilled, even the air held its breath. His eyes met hers, and in that instant, he felt something shift within him, a recognition deeper than memory, older than his own heartbeat. She was not a stranger. She was the missing line in every poem he had written, the prayer he had whispered unknowingly, everything he had searched for in stars, in verses, in endless nights, stood before him in human form. His pulse slowed, then raced, then dissolved into stillness. He felt as though God himself had paused creation to let him witness this one truth, that love is not found. It is remembered, and in her gaze, he remembered everything. The world stopped, but his soul began. He tried to breathe, yet breath itself seemed fragile compared to what his heart had discovered. The desert winds that once roared grew silent. The voices around him faded into nothing. All that remained was her presence, glowing softly like the first light of dawn. She was not adorned with crowns or jewels, yet she carried a beauty that humbled him, a beauty not of skin, but of soul. Her eyes held galaxies, her smile bent time itself. In that gaze, he saw a lifetime unfold, laughter yet to be shared, sorrows yet to be comforted, promises yet to be spoken. It was as if destiny had gathered every path he had walked, every prayer he had whispered, every dream he had hidden, and placed them all into this single, breathtaking encounter. He did not know her name, but he knew her essence, and in knowing her essence, he knew he had found his eternity. His heart spoke a language no tongue could form. It is her, it whispered, steady and certain. He had written countless verses, admired countless faces, yet none had ever stopped the rhythm of his soul the way she did. It was not infatuation, it was recognition, like the soul recalling a truth it had always known. Every fiber of him leaned toward her, every silence begged to remain in her presence. For the first time, the poet was without words. His pen would never capture the depth of what he felt in that instant, yet his eyes confessed it fully. The moment expanded, stretching into eternity. Seconds became oceans, and within them he drowned willingly. He did not care for tomorrow, nor for yesterday, for this present moment was everything. She had entered, and time itself surrendered. He felt as though the stars above had been waiting just to witness this glance, this meeting, this divine recognition. He wondered if she felt it too, the stillness, the trembling, the invisible thread pulling them together. Did her heart skip as his did? Did she sense the universe shifting its weight to place them in alignment? For love, when true, does not speak only to one, it speaks to both, echoing in two souls at once. He felt that echo now, as though her silence answered his, as though her breath carried the same astonishment. The crowd continued its motion, unaware, yet for them time had broken. He wanted to speak, to call her name, but the moment was too sacred to shatter with words. Instead, he let the silence hold them both. Let their eyes become the dialogue. Let their souls converse without interruption. In that quiet exchange, he felt more than he had ever spoken in years, and he knew if she turned away, still his life would never be the same again. She turned slightly, and the world dared to move again, yet his heart resisted, clinging to the eternity they had shared. It was only an instant, but it felt like a lifetime compressed into a single gaze. He thought of the desert, endless and vast, and realized that within her eyes he had found something greater, an infinity more profound than any horizon. His hands itched to write, to record, to immortalize this encounter, yet no ink could hold it. for what he had felt was not meant to be captured, only lived. She was both muse and miracle, both dream and reality. He saw in her not just beauty, but truth, a truth that demanded reverence. His soul bowed in silence, humbled before her presence, and though the world began to stir again, though footsteps echoed and voices returned, he remained in that sacred space, carrying her within him, as though she were now his heartbeat. He thought of destiny, of how it often arrives, unannounced, unplanned, unprepared for. Yet when it comes, it feels inevitable, as if every moment before existed, only to lead here. That was what he felt when he saw her, that all his poems, all his prayers, all his longings had been rehearsals for this instant. It was not chance, it was design. The way her hair caught the light, the way her presence silenced the air, the way his soul leapt toward her, without fear, none of it was coincidence. He realized then that life is measured not in years, but in moments such as this. One glance had become eternity, one instant had rewritten his heart's story, and even if fate carried them apart, even if her path never again crossed his, this memory would remain unshakable, for he had seen her, truly seen her, and in that seeing, he had touched forever. His tears surprised him, rising without permission, shimmering not with sorrow, but with awe. How could the soul weep from joy and ache at the same time? He did not hide them, he let them fall, quiet offerings to the earth that had witnessed their meet. She is the one, he whispered inwardly, though his lips did not move. The desert winds caught the confession, carrying it into the night sky, letting the stars keep it safe. He was not ashamed, for tears are the purest form of truth, and in truth, he had found her. He longed to reach out, to close the distance, to tell her that in the span of a heartbeat, she had become eternity to him. But his courage faltered, held back by the sacredness of the moment. Sometimes love begins not with action, but with stillness, not with words, but with recognition. And so he wept, silently, eternally, completely. She walked away, and the world resumed its pace. People moved, voices rose, the desert breathed again. But for him, everything had changed. The moment might have ended, yet eternity had entered him. He carried her absence as though it were presence, carried her silence as though it were song. His hands remained empty, but his heart was full, overflowing, trembling, alive. He whispered a prayer then, not for possession, but for blessing. May she be happy, he thought, even if never by my side. May her life shine as brightly as her eyes shone in mine. That was the purity of his love. It did not demand, it only. And though he had not spoken to her, though he had not touched her hand, though he had not even learned her name, he knew his soul had been rewritten forever. Love once awakened does not fade, it lingers, it burns, it becomes eternity with. So remember his story, not as a tale of crowns or titles, but as a moment of love, unspoken yet eternal. Sheikh Hamdan, the poet prince, the man of hidden depths, lived an instant that defied time. He saw her, and the world stopped. It was not a dream, not an illusion, but the purest truth. Love revealed itself in silence, in stillness, in a glance that stretched into forever. And though life would continue, though days would pass, and duties would call, that instant would remain immortal within him. He would write poems, he would whisper prayers, he would live with grace. But always, beneath it all, he would carry her, for in her he had seen eternity. In her he had recognized the other half of his soul. In her the world had stopped, only to let his heart begin. And that moment, though fleeting, would glow in his spirit until the end of time.